welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese. That's Danny DeVito, if you didn't know. And yeah, I moved out about 6 weeks ago. It's definitely been a good bit. If you hear like scurrying around, it's my cat. She is finally getting like very comfortable here, and she's just been running back and forth from the bathroom to under the bed, and she's probably one of the clumsiest cats I've ever met. She falls off of furniture all day long. She will just like run so fast that she falls over. She's adorable, but she's not the most coordinated. Anyways, if you hear weird noises sounding like there's a stampede coming through my apartment, it's because of Jojo. I moved out about 6 weeks ago, and I moved into my apartment about 3 weeks ago. So I moved to Florida. For the first half of my time living here, I was living with some family friends who were just kind of always out of town, so I just kind of had their house to myself. And then while I was staying there, I was looking for an apartment, and then I found my apartment, and then I moved in a few weeks ago. So I asked you guys on my Instagram to ask me questions about living alone / moving out. Also some personal questions where people were just wondering why I moved and all of that stuff. So I'm gonna be getting into a lot of that today. I think first, a lot of people are asking what are some pros and some cons of living alone. And I am still figuring out a lot of that. I have only been like living alone for a few weeks now. So yeah, I'm sure I will discover a lot more on the way. I will say there are so many pros to living alone. I love living alone. I have complete control over my space. I get to decorate it however I want. I get to keep it as clean as I want. I really get to just make it my own space, and I love that. I love having complete control over everything, even down to like the small thing, like how I organize my fridge. I love having control over that. On top of that, I don't have to worry about bugging other people if I'm filming, or if I want to listen to music a little bit louder. I can walk around in my underwear and not have to worry about brothers coming out of the room or something, you know, like just those like little things where I can basically do whatever I want. I can have friends over whenever I want, and I just don't have to worry about like consulting or asking other people like, is this okay? Does this line up like with what you're doing? I've had little moments throughout the day where I'm just like, oh, I wish I could like go buy sugary cereal or something. And I'm like, I can do that. Like if I wanted to do that, I could just go get a massive cake if I wanted to. I haven't done any of that yet, but you know, there's always the option there, which is really cool. Some cons are definitely, it can get a little freaky being alone all the time. I think especially at night, you just realize like, I'm all alone, you know? And I haven't had too many freakouts yet. Maybe there's a bug in my apartment and no one can kill it. I have to kill it, you know? Just like small things like that where I'm like, dang, I wish there was someone else here that could like help me with this. On that note, I have to do all of my dishes all the time, which I hate doing dishes. It's like my least favorite thing ever. You don't have your parents to do it for you anymore, you know? You gotta do it. Do it yourself. And I've always been pretty good at doing my stuff by myself, but dishes are like the one thing where I'm just kind of like, someone else can do it, you know? And now I have to do them myself, so that kind of sucks. Someone asked, how did you find your apartment? So I had been planning to move to Florida with some friends, and basically the week before I was supposed to move here, both of my friends were kind of like, hey, I kind of don't think I'm ready to move out. So I was like, well shoot, like I really want to move here, so what am I gonna do? So my dad called some family friends, and they were so gracious and kind enough to let me stay at their house until I was able to find my own place. And for the first 2 weeks or so, I was just looking and looking and looking, calling, walking into places, and just none of them were working, or the ones that would have worked had like a 6-month waiting list. I went on like page 10 of Google, like looking at every single apartment in the area. Then I found this place that I'm living in now, and I had called, but they hadn't answered because it was the weekend, and so I kind of forgot about it. Looked for another week at a bunch of other apartments, and then I decided, okay, wait, I'm gonna call this place back and just see maybe if they'll answer this time. And they did answer. I was like, do you have anything available? She was like, we have one studio available, which was like, I was like, okay, how much is it? And she was like, it's this much, which was like right in my price range. And I was like, okay, when's it available? And she was like, it's available the beginning of February. And I was like, okay, when can I come see it? Like I was just getting like so excited. And so I went that day. I came by and walked through it and just like fell in love with the place. It's so cute and homey and cozy, and I just loved it a lot. I really want to move out too, but I'm scared to be lonely. Is it lonely? It can definitely get lonely. If you are the type of person who needs like social interaction every single day, I would suggest getting a roommate. I personally like having a lot of quiet time, but I definitely get lonely if I go a few days without seeing someone. So I've tried to be a lot more mindful about making plans with people and just going to social events and stuff like that. Evaluate if you're the type of person who would need a roommate, and if you're not and you want to live on your own, then definitely make a lot of effort to make friends, make plans with friends, like at least once or twice a week. Someone said, how did you manage your finances, like setting aside for food, rent, fun, etc.? I still need to I still need to get together a budget. I know I need to get around to doing that, but I've only been living in this apartment for like 3 weeks now. So I think for the most part, I'm trying to be a lot more thoughtful about the money that I spend on furniture and appliances and fun stuff like that. I used to just like buy things the second I saw them, and now I'm like, okay, let me wait like a few weeks and just see, like, you know, I don't need this right now, but you know, maybe next month I could buy it or whatever. I'm trying to be a lot more mindful of what I'm spending. For rent, I like to put aside the money for rent into my savings account, just so that I know there's no chance of it going anywhere if something went through. And then the rest of my money in my checking account, I try not to spend. I'm trying to film. As far as food goes, I used to Postmates food a lot, like a lot more than I probably should have. Now I try to limit myself to once, maybe twice a week, but I try not to Postmates or Uber too much because it's a lot cheaper to just go pick it up. You know, the delivery fees and stuff add up a lot. But when it comes to extra money, I just try to be more mindful of it until I do get a little budget going. I would suggest doing a budget. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how scary is it at night? Okay, so for the most part, it's not too scary. I like to sleep with the TV on, so that's kind of been helpful. It kind of blocks out any noise that I might get freaked out about. But I will say there have been a few instances where I did get a little freaked out. For the most part, it's totally fine. But when I was staying at our friend's house, they have a home phone, and I just went and saw the new Scream with my dad. And it was like maybe 10 o'clock at night, and the phone started ringing, and I just freaked out. I was like, no, this is not happening. So I just locked myself in the bathroom for like an hour. There's definitely been a few times, but I wouldn't say that it's scary. Like it's it's pretty like fine. What does it feel like to be so independent and do everything on your own without a parent? Something I would definitely suggest before moving out is to gradually start doing things on your own while you're still living with your parents. I feel like the past year especially, I've really been trying to get out of my comfort zone and make my own appointments, go to my own appointments myself, go grocery shopping by myself, just so that when I did move out, it wasn't like a total shock and I didn't know how to do anything. I think it was the Kardashians when Kylie wanted to move out, and then she like knew nothing about laundry or credit or like anything like that, and her sisters were like, Kylie, like, come on. Yeah, I think it's very important that you start to learn about those things and start doing those things on your own before you're like fully on your own, you know? Do you think your place is haunted? I didn't worry about that actually until you just brought that up. I don't think it is, but I probably will be thinking about it now. How do you stay safe? So especially being a young girl living on your own, it's very important that you take precautions to be safe, because there are very creepy people out there. So I have a few things. I'm planning on getting a Ring doorbell. I don't have one yet, but it's on the list of things to get. I also want to get some pepper spray just to carry around, but yeah, be careful with that. Right now, I have this little like sharp keychain type thing that my friend got me. And so when I'm walking around by myself, or especially at night, if I'm walking to my car or whatever, I'll just hold it, because if someone did try to do something, you know, you can just... But yeah, just like taking precautions, having something that you can feel safe with, that you can defend yourself with if someone were to try something, is very important. How do you deal with homesickness? This is something I have been experiencing on and off. My sisters and my mom were just in town. They left yesterday, which was also kind of hard. Like, saying goodbye is usually the hardest part. So I felt kind of sad, like most of yesterday, and then a little bit this morning I felt kind of sad. I think you have to remember, like, if you really need to, like, you can go visit them. You can also FaceTime. I FaceTime my family at least once a day, usually more. And then I think also, like, when I am feeling really homesick, it's very good for me personally to make plans with friends. It kind of helps me get out of my apartment, makes me focus on like the good things that I have here rather than what I left behind in Nashville, I guess. Like with any big change, you're going to feel a big roller coaster of emotions, and homesickness is probably one of them. Be patient with yourself if you're going through it. A lot of people want to know how to meet new friends in a new city. I was lucky enough that I already knew a few people before I moved here, and most of those people are pretty big connectors, so I met a lot of people through them. Because they're all connectors, they just invited me to different little social events and introduced me. If you're more introverted and shy like me, then I would definitely suggest trying to find a few friends who are that way, who will just kind of introduce you to more people. And I think a lot of people are willing to do that, especially if they know like you're the new kid in town, you know, whatever. And then when I moved here, I tried to make it a pretty big priority for the first month at least to say yes to pretty much everything I got invited to. I really wanted to prioritize socializing and meeting new people. Now that I've lived here for a little over a month, I've kind of stepped back a little bit and like been like, okay, I'm a little too busy to do this, or I know I'll be really drained if I go to this thing, so I'm a little bit more selective now. But I don't think it can hurt for like a period of time to just say yes to most of the stuff you get invited to, because you never know who you can meet or what you'll learn or the cool places you'll find, you know? How much money should I save before moving out? I think most apartment complexes want you to make at least 3 times the rent. Obviously, not everyone can do that, so there's the option to have a cosigner or a guarantor. But before moving out, it's probably wise to have a few $1,000s, I think, saved up. Some apartments want you to pay first and last month's rent. Sometimes they just want first. There's the security deposit, which, you know, can sometimes be pretty cheap and sometimes be the same amount as your rent is, you know, plus any deposits for pets. You know, I had to pay a pet deposit for Jojo, and then you have utilities and like all that. So you definitely want to have a good bit of money saved up before you move out, and that amount kind of depends on what apartment you're moving into. My sister said, do you obsess about keeping your drains down? Just want to know for a friend. Okay, my sister stayed with me the past few weeks, and I am just like freaking crazy about making sure that the drains stay down, because if you watched my last video, you would know we had a problem with the roaches, and that problem has since been solved. There has not been a roach in my apartment in a few weeks. Part of that is because I did the fogger thing, part of that is because my apartment complex sprays, and part of that is because I've been obsessive about keeping the drains closed at all times. And my sister is not the best at remembering to do that, and so I would just get on to her over and over and over again, and at a certain point I probably was just being naggy. None of them did come in when the drains were up, but I just want to be very, very careful because I'm completely on my own now and I do not want to kill them by myself. Like, I don't want to do that. So yes, I am obsessive about keeping the drains closed. Well, that is all the questions I'm going to answer today, but thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you want, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.